13 ultra-violent Batman animated moments unleashing his Berserker rage. One of the biggest reasons why Batman is one of the most beloved superheroes is because he is a regular man with no superpowers. Not just that, but his moral code of never killing or him never using a gun can be seen as a severe handicap against lethal villains who do not fret over taking lives or making millions of dollars out of their marksmanship. Batman has gotten involved in his fair share of brutal fights, and often he has kicked the defense to the curb to absolutely decimate his opponents or stand tall against more competent villains. The Dark Knight has bloodied his enemies, almost killed the Joker, broken several bones, and dropped the villains from several stories above. The only reason why the faces didn't look as battered as the blows is because the animated movies are PG-13. But one look at the hands that Bruce is throwing and you'd know that in a real life situation, his opponents would be toast. In this video, we are going to list 13 such fights where Batman went absolutely ballistic, be it of his own accord while being calm or in a state of emotional frenzy.
Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Number 1. 55-year-old Batman nearly beats a mutant leader to death. Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, Part 1. This movie is a two-part adaptation of the legendary Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, where a retired Bruce Wayne once again steps into the shadows of Gotham City as the Dark Knight. Following the death of Jason Todd, Bruce Wayne retires from being Batman. Without his hero, Gotham is completely overrun by crime within a decade. A new gang known as the Mutants now terrorize the city. Bruce Wayne's thoughts are plagued by having to hear about the ongoing crimes, the disappearance of Harvey Dent, and the death of his parents. Finally, a 55-year-old Bruce Wayne decides to return to his Batman persona once again, but this time, he is weakened by age. His reappearance garners a divided reaction from the public. Meanwhile, the leader of the mutants challenges Batman to fight him. Batman is nearly killed, but he manages to survive, thanks to Carrie Kelly, who distracts the leader, allowing Batman to subdue him. However, the leader later murders the mayor. With help from Commissioner Gordon and Kelly disguised as a mutant, Batman is able to lure the leader and his gang to a sewer outlet with a mud pit. Batman fights the leader once again, who mocks Batman for his old age and reduced speed. But Batman has to prove himself and his strength once again. And even if he is outmatched in strength, his wits can clear the opponent. Batman calls the leader his son as a form of mockery. He toys with him while using the mud pit to slow him down. He plays nasty, cutting the leader's forehead to make the blood hinder his vision. He takes advantage of the leader having an injured nose and does not hold back his punches at all. He takes the brutality a notch higher when he impairs the nerves on the leader's deltoids, paralyzing the arm. He calls the mud pit his operating table while he himself is the surgeon. He slams the leader to the ground, breaks his arm and his legs, beats him to a nice pulp and disfigures his face. The fight is so iconic that he earns the respect of the other mutants who band up into smaller gangs to work under him as the Sons of Batman.
Game's over, Batman.
Number 2. Batman is pure evil. Superman: Red Sun. Russian Batman appears in the 2020 animated movie Superman: Red Sun. It is based on Mark Millar's comic miniseries of the same name. In this story, we are taken back to the Soviet Union in 1946, where a young Superman tries to avoid the bullies who are chased away by a young girl named Svetlana. A decade passes by. The Soviet government reveals the existence of an alien superhuman who worked under the command of Joseph Stalin. While in the United States, Superman learns of a secret gulag where he finds Svetlana. She was dying and had been imprisoned for knowing his real identity. This enrages Superman and he ends up killing Stalin, becoming the Soviet Union's new supreme leader. He spreads communist ideas all over the world and also forms a close friendship with Princess Diana of Themyscira. Over 10 years later, he has to encounter the terrorist Batman. Batman, a survivor of the secret gulag, seeks revenge against Superman as he blames the superhuman for the death of his parents. He kidnaps Wonder Woman and uses her lasso of truth to not just bind her physically, but also mentally. He puts her under orders to kill herself if Superman harmed Batman, which already gives him an advantage over an indestructible being in a fight.
And she's under orders to kill herself if you harm me in any way.
He is shown to be incredibly formidable and quite ruthless. Batman unleashes a horde of red sun lamps which mimic the conditions of his own world. It weakens Superman. He uses the opportunity to brutally beat up Superman. Without his superpowers, Superman is unable to even hold a candle to Batman's insane fighting techniques and martial arts. He is completely outclassed while Batman leaves no stones unturned when it comes to throwing hands. What makes it more interesting is that Batman got Lex Luthor, Superman's archenemy, to make these lamps. Superman's head is smashed, his gut made to receive several hardcore blows from Batman's knee, and by the end of it, he could barely stand up. If the movie was rated R or more realistic, Superman's face would have completely changed its shape from the beatdown. The Bat mocks Superman for being an egomaniac ruler just like everyone before him and leaves him to die. Too bad for Batman that Wonder Woman is able to free herself and destroy the lamps, which gives Superman the advantage, and in the end, Batman chooses to commit suicide. Number 3. Batman takes down an entire police unit and escapes. Batman Year One. An adaptation of another classic by Frank Miller, Batman Year One, shows Bruce Wayne during the very early stages of his life as Batman. A pre-Batman Bruce Wayne returns to Gotham 12 years after training abroad to eventually fight crime. James Gordon and Barbara Gordon also come to the city, where James is assigned to work alongside a corrupt detective called Arnold Flass. Not only is Gotham a violent place, but the corruption with the government and the police force is easily one of its most troublesome points. Bruce Wayne is shot at by 2 police officers doing a surveillance mission in one of Gotham's red light districts. He breaks free and seeks out his father, Bust, at Wayne Manor for guidance when a bat comes and settles on the bus, inspiring him to become the Batman.
Yes, Father.
In one of his initial missions, he goes after the corrupted Flass and busts him as he takes a bribe from a drug dealer. He also crashes the mayor's dinner party and promises to bring all corrupt officials to justice. Flass, Boss Loeb, is furious at this and orders Gordon to arrest Batman, oblivious to the fact that the district attorney Harvey Dent had sided with the Bat. He is chased by Gordon and Detective Essen and ultimately held at gunpoint when Batman escapes to an abandoned building, where the carnage begins. Loeb orders for a bomb to be dropped on the building, but Batman survives the explosion. But his utility belt catches fire and he has to dispose of it, which is likely to be of great handicap to him. A SWAT team infiltrates the building to find Batman and kill him. Using an ultrasonic signal device, Batman sends out sonic waves that can only be heard by bats. He then escapes all the bullets, breaking a pillar on the cops, beat them up, throws bricks at them, breaks their bones, and throws one of them out of the building by smashing him against the wall. By the time he single-handedly wins the fight, a swarm of bats come to his aid and he camouflages himself amidst them to escape in the greatest heroic fashion.
You did well out there. Your father will be very proud.
Thank you.
Number 4. Batman crushes Shredder's ninja butt into 1,000 pieces. Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This crossover movie brings forth the dream battle for several fans of Western animation, Batman vs. Shredder. It adapts a comic book miniseries by Freddie Williams II and James Tynion IV. In the movie, the Foot Clan steals a power generator while being trailed by the Turtles. The clan attacks Wayne Enterprises to steal their Cloud Seeker machine, but are greeted by Batman's fist. He is able to fend off the clan quite easily until their boss, Shredder, joins the fight for an iconic 1-on-1 between the 2 ace combatants.
You picked the wrong battle, warrior.
Who are you?
At first, Batman holds back as usual to figure his opponent out. He soon realizes that this is the wrong approach against Shredder, as Shredder's claws and tactics begin to trouble Batman more and more. Eventually, the Bat begins to take a much more aggressive approach in the fight. Having underestimated Shredder's capabilities, he is able to break his claws, slam him against the controls, and knock him to the ground. They are both evenly matched until Shredder attacks Batman with the Sato Oshi strike. However, he lets Batman live. It is revealed that Shredder had teamed up with Ra's and struck a bargain. Ra's would take Shredder to the Lazarus Pit and make him immortal, while Shredder would build a machine that would spread the Joker's venom in Gotham City, turning the people into mutants. To thwart this plan, Batman also teams up with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They realize that the villains were at Ace Chemical to carry out their plans and head there for the final showdown, where Batman plays the offense from the start, using his bombs to slow Shredder down. But Shredder attacks Batman's utility belt to handicap his versatility. However, Shredder does not keep the lead for long, as Batman uses Raphael as a sucker punch to incapacitate Shredder. His mask breaks and Batman goes berserk as he punches Shredder's face, bloodying his hands and dropping him from 7 meters above. As the mutagen disseminating device falls through the ceiling, burning Ace Chemicals down, Shredder is thrown into a vat of Joker's venom.
Catwoman, down!
Number 5, Batman almost killing Joker out of rage. Batman Hush. The movie is loosely based on the comic book story arc of the same name, and it revolves around an enemy called Hush, who finds out Batman's secret and begins to target the important people in his life. Batman has an accident while chasing a masked vigilante. He falls onto the sidewalk, which cracks his skull while other criminals try to unmask him. Batgirl takes him to the Batcave. His childhood friend Thomas Elliot, who is now a brain surgeon, is called for help. 2 weeks before Bruce's prescribed period of rest is over, he decides that he is ready to get back into action. Batman learns of Poison Ivy's involvement, who had been controlling Catwoman with a hypnotic kiss. He defeats her and learns of the vigilante named Hush being the one pulling the strings.
But I won't. Name. Now. Hush.
Bruce attends an opera with Selina and Thomas. He was oblivious to Hush using Joker to persuade Harley Quinn into attacking the place. And so he does, creating enormous commotion. Hush uses this to his advantage to lure Thomas out of the opera, and he kills him. But he frames Joker for the murder, which makes Batman go into a frenzy with rage when he sees the body of his childhood friend in front of the Joker, who was holding a gun. Even though the Joker tries to assert himself as the innocent one, Batman does not pay any attention. He goes ballistic, hitting the clown, and the only reason Joker does not die, despite being squandered, is because of a plot armor. In the end, he almost lets go of his vow to never kill and begins to strangle the Joker, who is happy over Batman breaking the moral code, but unhappy over how he is doing it over something Joker has not done. Finally, Commissioner Gordon manages to stop Batman from taking Joker's life. Number 6, Batman defeats Superman. Batman: The Dark Knight Returns Part 2. Following the events of Batman: The Dark Knight Returns Part 1, which ends with Joker coming out of his catatonic state as Batman returns to the game, Joker tries to enter a talk show to tell his tale. However, he ends up killing everyone during this skit and takes control of the congressional representative. Amidst the growing hostility between the United States and the Soviet Union, the Joker calls for a nuclear strike on the Soviet. At the time, Superman works as a government operative who is under orders to end Batman's vigilantism. Superman stops the nuclear strike, but the detonation creates an electromagnetic pulse so strong that it causes a nuclear winter in the country. However, Batman, Kelly, Gordon, and the Sons of Batman restore order in Gotham City, making it the safest place in the country. This prompts Yandel to send the troops and Superman to stop Batman as he makes the president administration look inferior. Superman and Batman gear up for a historic battle in Crime Alley. Batman wears a powerful exoframe to fight the Man of Steel, who seems to be able to hold his own against some of the world's greatest technology. Superman outclasses Batman with ease.
That was 3 ribs, Bruce.
Batman gains the help of Oliver Queen's Green Arrow to shoot an arrow with synthetic kryptonite to severely weaken Superman. This allows the man to defeat the god as Superman finds himself unable to stand up. He reminds Superman that he could have killed him whenever he wanted to, had he used a stronger mix for creating the synthetic kryptonite. He wants Superman to always remember who was the one man who defeated the god. Number 7, Batman defeats his own evil mirror form, Owlman. Justice League: Crisis on Two Earths. The film borrows from Gardner Fox's comic Crisis on Earth 3. And Grant Morrison's JLA Earth 2, the premise is set in an alternate universe where the roles of the heroes and villains from the mainstream DC universe have been reversed. Lex Luthor and the Joker, or Jester, who are the good guys, try to steal the quantum trigger from the crime syndicate, aka the Mirror Justice League, where Jester sacrifices himself. Luthor accidentally travels to the mainstream DC universe. Superman notes how he is from a different dimension and, barring Batman, the rest of the main League members travel to the Syndicate dimension to mitigate their threat. Batman's evil parallel, Owlman, has developed a device called the Quantum Eigenstate Device, or the QED, which he intends to use to secretly overthrow Superman or Ultraman. The weapon is also powerful enough to destroy entire worlds, which is another thing he intends to do as he believes man to be malignant. He searched for Earth Prime, the Earth from where the other universes began, to destroy it, hoping it would destroy every other universe. His allies support him and go to the League's Earth where Superwoman escapes with the quantum trigger, but Batman follows suit. He defeats Superwoman and comes face to face with Owlman, who takes the QED bomb to Earth Prime. With help from Johnny Quick, Batman gets there as well, where he must duel his evil counterpart. Owlman explains his nihilistic philosophy to Batman, calling mankind the cancer that creates destruction. The two fight and their similarities do not go amiss. However, Owlman's style is a lot more lethal and offensive compared to Batman's more defensive style. Owlman tries to mock Batman, overpower him with his strength, but as he tries to kill Batman, the Batman traps the Owl with the QED bomb. He ends up in another dimension where he finally dies as the bomb explodes. A death triggered by the actions of a man who abstains from killing.
Holy crap, it's Batman!
Number 8. Batman takes down Amanda Waller's Black Ops team. Batman: Assault on Arkham. The movie is a direct-to-video animated superhero movie. Set in a universe of the video game franchise of Batman Arkham, it occurs after Arkham Origins with Batman in a supporting role as Amanda Waller's Suicide Squad with the leads. However, one of the initial scenes of the movie has a phenomenal fight sequence where Batman completely obliterates Waller's Black Ops team in the fight. Waller speaks with the Riddler, who keeps riddling her. She reveals that she only allowed him to jabber constantly so that she could pinpoint his location. Her special forces infiltrate his base from above to capture when there's suddenly a blackout. The soldiers switch to night vision, only to see Batman, who claims that the Riddler is his. Batman single-handedly fights off all the soldiers who are equipped with heavy artillery and firearms, and yet they are no match for the Dark Knight, who does not waste more than a few seconds of time on each soldier. His hands do the trick. He goes all out with his punches and batarangs. He spills blood and gets the job done. Even though the last soldier turns out to be more competent than the rest, Batman dodges his attacks with ease and breaks his wrist before grabbing a hold of the Riddler. Number 9. Batman vs. Deadshot. Batman: Gotham Knight. This movie is an animated anthology film that consists of 6 segments. In one such segment, written by Alan Burnett and produced by Madhouse, Batman must go against one of the world's greatest assassins, Deadshot. Deadshot is introduced as a prodigious assassin with incredibly accurate aim. He is also the opposite of Batman in a way, as Batman is not one to use guns, unlike Deadshot, whose specialty revolves around guns. He is hired by the Russians for a mission to kill Commissioner Gordon.
You have to know your enemy, Alfred. I'd never use one, but even I can appreciate the attraction of a gun.
When the defense of Gotham City learns about it, Batman is called to protect him. Deadshot tries to shoot Gordon while on a moving train, and even though his aim is accurate as always, Batman comes in, donning his bulletproof suit to deflect it. Deadshot reveals how Batman had been the real target all along, and this was all a plot to lure him out. Deadshot keeps shooting at Batman, who manages to fend off the bullets thanks to his suit. The scene boasts crisp animation which only heightens the experiment of watching the masked vigilante versus the prodigious assassin. The train enters a tunnel and Batman charges at Deadshot, but in close range. His bulletproof suit fails at keeping him safe and Batman falls off the train. Almost. Deadshot gloats about Batman's stupidity when Batman ambushes him from behind and allows Deadshot's head to brutally bang against the steel pillars of the tunnel, which looks like it could give you the worst concussion ever. He disarms Deadbolt, who is now handicapped since his weapon is incapacitated. Batman knocks him out.
As long as I can siphon off the Speed Force, you can't escape this timeline.
Number 10. Batman kills Professor Zoom point blank. Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox. Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox adapts the comic book crossover called Flashpoint by Andy Kubert and Jeff Johns. The film revolves around the creation of an alternate timeline where Barry Allen has to formulate the Justice League in an altered timeline where he does not have his speedster powers. Dr. Thomas Wayne becomes Batman following Bruce Wayne's death, and the Atlanteans want war with the Amazonians. When Barry finds himself in a new timeline, he sees now his powers are gone. Iris is married to a different man, and the Justice League does not exist. After noticing the conflict between the Atlanteans and the Amazonians, Barry seeks out Batman and heads to Wayne Manor, where he learns about Dr. Thomas Wayne being Batman. Barry tries to retrieve his costume from the ring, but it turns out to be the Reverse Flash costume. He assumes Thawne, or Professor Zoom, is responsible for the alteration of the timeline. He tries to convince him to recreate the accident that turned Barry into the Flash, and even though they failed during the first try, they succeed the second time around. Barry is still unable to time travel as Professor Zoom was in the Speed Force. As the war breaks out, Thawne reveals himself to Barry and tells him how Barry traveling back in time to save his mother created this reality. The League members fight one another. As explosion from the war tears across the landscape when Thawne confesses that he intends to keep Barry in this reality, he boasts his connection to the Speed Force, which prevents Barry from time traveling, but Batman shoots his head from behind. Thawne, or Professor Zoom, is killed, and now Barry can use the Speed Force to fix everything.
I love you for it.
Number 11, Batman goes ultra-violent on Joker. But the Jester has the last laugh. In Batman, The Dark Knight Returns Part 2, the Joker pretends to be remorseful towards his violent past. He convinces Wolper to get him a talk show seat, but schemes with Abner to use a mind-controlling lipstick to escape. This takes place during the growing hostility between the USA and the Soviet Union, while the Gotham government stands against Batman in his activities as a vigilante. During the talk show, the Gotham City Police Department and Batman fight on the roof while Joker kills Wolper. He gasses everyone else in the studio to death and finds one of Selina Kyle's escorts. With his mind-controlling lipstick, he takes control of a congressman and orders a nuclear strike on the Soviet. Batman blames his actions of not killing the Joker for being the reason why the clown was able to kill so many people and tracks him down at the fairgrounds. Batman is able to outdo the Joker, who is both wounded and partially blinded, with ease. This time, his guilt makes him want to kill the Joker, who stabs Batman repeatedly. In front of several witnesses, Batman lets go of his defensive playstyle and breaks Joker's neck. He is still alive but paralyzed from below his neck, to brand Batman as a murderer.
Okay, looks like we do it the hard way.
Number 12, Batman, Hush. In this movie, almost killing the Joker is not the only time when Batman acts out of his moral compass. Following his recovery from a skull surgery, Batman helps Amanda Waller retrieve Bane from police custody for information regarding a series of crimes that were being coordinated. He also works alongside Catwoman, albeit reluctantly, to find Poison Ivy. He comes across Lex Luthor, who works as a probationary member of the League after he helped the members defeat Cyborg Superman. To thwart their plans, Ivy uses kryptonite lipstick to hypnotize Superman and take control over him. She orders him to kill Batman and Catwoman. With Superman's other weakness being Lois Lane, Catwoman pushes her off a building. Batman does not stop her as he realizes that this is their only chance against the Man of Steel. Watching Lois almost fall to her death breaks Ivy's mind control over Superman, and he is finally freed. Number 13, Batman nearly kills Nightwing. Batman, Bad Blood. This is the 6th film in the DC animated movie universe. It takes inspiration from the Leviathan arcs written by Grant Morrison during his run as a writer for Batman. Batman gets caught up in an explosion and presumably dies. The news of his absence reaches Damian Wayne, Bruce's son, with Talia al Ghul, and he returns to Gotham City. The Heretic attacks Wayne Enterprises and escapes with their technology while Damian and Nightwing fail to stop it. It is revealed that the Heretic was working under Talia al Ghul and they are holding Bruce prisoner. The Mad Hatter is brainwashing Bruce while the Heretic kidnaps Damian and tells him that he is Damian's clone, genetically engineered from his DNA to be a perfect soldier. Nightwing and Batwoman reaches the base as Damian's outfit had a tracker attached to it. Luke arrives in the combat exosuit and they rescue the Waynes. However, Talia and her men escape. After a week, Bruce seemingly recovers from the brainwashing, but he suddenly attacks Catherine for no reason. His lack of memories helped Grayson, or Nightwing, realize that he was still under the effects of mind control. They realized that the League of Assassins intended to brainwash several mind leaders and they tried to stop them. However, a brainwashed Bruce fights Nightwing. Batman fights aggressively, showing off his total mastery over hand-to-hand combat. At first, he mainly dodges Nightwing's attacks, but once he goes on the offense, he goes a bit too hard on his ally. He breaks his left shoulder and punches him off the stairs. He wounds Nightwing's face and sprains his left shoulder against with no remorse. Talia arrives and hands Batman a gun, asking him to shoot Nightwing. He almost does it until Damian arrives, giving Batman a new target. Nightwing reminds him of his moral code of never killing. With a moving speech about Batman being the one to understand their shared loneliness and being the best man he has ever known, Batman is able to fight off the mind control. What do you think of Batman's fights? Did you enjoy this video? If yes, then do not forget to like and comment on this video. Till then, goodbye and have a great day.
You can't leave now. It's pizza time.